So, here we are with probably one of the, well, I'm assuming anyway, one of the final times that the dub is going to get any points. I know that seems blasphemous, but the question, there's basically a question that a couple of things that kind of, in my opinion, kind of tip the scale one way or the other for whether or not you will enjoy this episode more so in the dub than in the sub. Do you like the idea of do you like the idea that Mai could eventually become a part of the friend group? Oop. Well, then you'll probably like the dub. Do you prefer, or do you think that humanizing Noah is a good thing, and that and that Mokuba lamenting that Noah is not going to see the bright future that Kaiba is building, Seto is building in is good? Then you'll probably prefer the sub. Me, I prefer the dub. Mostly just because I'm like, yeah, no, I think the farewells work better in the dub. I think the I think the sinking of the island works better in the dub. The only things I actually enjoyed more so in the sub were the Seto stuff. Go figure. Mostly because he's actually a proper character this time. He basically addresses the very thing I was bitching about. You know how I said without him destroying Alcatraz Island wasn't going to do shit. He actually reflects upon Seto actually reflects upon that and actually asks if he has actually overcome the hatred for his stepfather. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and say this as bluntly as I can. I actually think he does. He has as of this point. He's done. The whole hate boner thing is done. Yeah, because now Kaiba past this point is just going to be more snark. It's going to be more snark and stuff, and the reactions from the gang are actually going to be more will probably feel more out of place in the sub, but we'll see how that all goes. And at this point, it kind of feels more like kind of it feels like the Ixeto's arc is kind of all over the place, but ultimately does progress, right? I mean, I'm probably one of the few people who actually likes Kaiba and Dark Side of Dimensions, for example. And yes, I say specifically Kaiba, because I think in Kaiba in the dub of D-Sod is actually decent. But then again, I like the dub of D-Sod, so what the hell do I know? But then again, I'm also not one of these people that just immediately dismisses the dub out of pocket and calls it a steaming piece of shit the second I learned about all the changes. Which is funny because, again, as I've been proving, the dub actually has some stuff that the sub, I think, has been screwing up on here and there. So, sub is still winning, but it's a score of 45 to 40. Which is funny because you can actually trace how many episodes have been neither by this estimation. 48 for the curious. 48 episodes worth of content have been neither. Right? So, but yeah, I suppose there's nothing else for it except to get into it. I still say this is a worthless plot, and the helicopter is a cop-out. Simple as that. In the manga, if you're curious, they literally just board the battleship and leave. Kaiba, they think Seto's going down with the island. He pops up in the Blue Eyes White Dragon jet, and then there you go. and that's basically the end of Kaiba in the manga, pretty much. I'm only kind of half joking because the only Kaiba stuff we see is from Seto, as in Priest Seto. But I digress. And not even the actual Priest Seto, but that's something to get into way later in about, 53 or 54 episodes or so. God. Yeah, I actually looked it up. It's like 190 something when we're going to be entering the Millennium World arc. This is episode 143 for the record, which means we're going to be stuck in filler land for over 50 episodes. If the comments, this is my vow that if the comment section wants me to cover capsule monsters, I'll cover it. But I'm not planning to cover capsule monsters. Just saying. Also, there will be no sub talk of capsule monsters. We will just be rating the dub episodes, which also means it's easier for an episode to get rant view. By the way, because again, it doesn't have the other version which can yank it out, which has been happening several times in this entire, in this entire show. So there you go. So yeah. So we get Seto remembering his dream. As I said, all the reflections work better in the sub. Which admittedly, as I was watching the sub, I literally jotted down, point sub, and then I jotted down point lost, and then there was the remembering of Noah, which gave the dub the point. If you're curious, this is actually a case of the sub lost me, therefore the dub got the point. But yeah. I also do like that in the sub, Atem points out that Kaiba looks towards the future. He's not going to commit suicide by dying on the island. I like that Atem points that out. You know, I'm not even necessarily mad at Yugi for not figuring that out because he's panicking right now. And he's a kid. Atem is a much more, stoic person, and he's steadfast in the idea that Kaiba committing suicide. Yeah, sure, okay. The only way you're getting Seto Kaiba to commit suicide is by writing his name in the Death Note. God, Seto Kaiba does kind of look like Yagami a little bit in character design, doesn't he? At least as far as the anime draws him, not so much in the manga. I think his look, lights, specifically his look in the manga is a bit doesn't give me Seto Kaiba vibes. But in the anime, yeah, actually, I could kind of see it. I mean, if you were to look at it, you could easily tell the difference. But if you're just a quick glance, you could. It might take you a second to realize you're looking at one or the other. You know, my opinion. So, they board the copter, they get off the island explodes. The sinking scene is a lot better in the dub, in my opinion, because they're all talking about, oh, how foolish and all this other stuff. And Joey even going like, trying to recover with something and saying, well, maybe he wanted to go down with this island. Now, granted, Atem knows that's bullshit, but, to give Joey some credit, that would be the only reason he'd still be on the island. So, I'll give you a little bit of credit on that one, Joey. So then they show up in the Blue Eyes White Jet. Kaiba laughs in both versions. Kaiba's sarcasm is awful in its implications. Oops, I guess the battleship wasn't fixed yet. Seto says something similar, but it's like, fucking really, dude? Dude. Also, thank you, Jinochi, for saying the quiet part out loud. We almost died! What the hell are you snarking about? Fuck. That was also when the sub lost the point. By the way, we dipped it down to neither, and then Mokuba had to reminisce about Noah, and that just dipped it into the dub. If you're wondering, so also Seto, you fucking ruined it. Our battle will last forever, or Yugi, our battle will last forever. It's supposed to be a Kaiba thing, Seto. What the fuck? Anyways. I mean, I know you can say the symbology of it, but uh you know what? I'm actually going to save my thoughts on Warriors. I'm actually going to save my thoughts on Warriors for later. I realized I couldn't I didn't talk about Warriors yet. But I think what it was I was saving it for when we get to the Doma arc. At the beginning of the Doma arc, I'm going to talk about it because when I think of the Warriors opening, I actually think of Doma. I don't think of Alcatraz. Fun fact. Gee, I wonder why. Maybe it's because that arc actually has the same opening for all 40 episodes. Although what's funny is the KC Grand Prix also has Warriors as its opening, which means we literally only have like what 26 episodes of which to enjoy my personal favorite opening, Overlap. Is it Overlap? Yeah, Overlap. Yep. Which is my personal favorite sub opening. Voice is awesome. So my top three are Overlap and are Overlap. Yep. I suddenly can't think of it. Overlap, Shuffle, and Voice. Those are my top three. Shuffle has really grown on me. I'm not gonna lie. There's just something about Shuffle that just kind of works, and I'm of course meaning the song, admittedly. And I'm only counting the openings from DM because I want to actually hear the openings from the other stuff. But spoiler alert: I'm not gonna be very nice to GX's first opening at all. I know some people really fuck with that song, but I can't stand it. When I heard that, I was like, that's the song they put in front of GX's Japanese version? What? Ugh. We'll get into it. Because who knows? Maybe having listened to it after a while, I will have warmed up to it. So we'll see if it's like Warriors where it's kind of grown on me a little bit, and Wild Drive where it started to grow on me a little bit. Those two are basically duking it out for the bottom slots, fighting over the bottom slots. They're having their own battle of the bronze, if as it were. Except it's not the bronze medal; it's the turd medal. But whatever, don't tell them that. But yeah, I guess I segued right into it. I've never been a big fan of Warriors, and I know that's going to get me some serious flack, but I've never liked Warriors as an opening. It's all right. The song is not bad. I've already named a song in the Yu-Gi-Oh franchise that I honestly think is infinitely worse than Warriors, but it and Wild Drive are kind of at the bottom. Admittedly, I think that's just because I've been hearing Wild Drive a little too much lately, and it's one of those ones where it's like, if I heard it for, up until the end of the Battle City semifinals, I think I would have been okay with it. But yeah. But no, hearing it throughout the entirety of the Battle City semifinals, the entire virtual world arc, and then up till Clash in the Coliseum Part 5, I want to say, is just like, wow, really? So, meh. Anyways, he's Kaiba and Mokuba go off to build Kaiba Land, which is going to get interrupted by Stupid. Thanks, Doma Arc. Not the last time I'll be saying that in this video. And then they head back to Domino City. So, Merrick and Ishizu have their farewell. Odeon and Rashid don't get to say shit. But then again, I suppose Odeon just being a part of the family is, is just what he's happy about. Although you could just put a ring on Ishizu's finger there, Odeon, and then just make it official. I know he doesn't. It doesn't have to be like that because implications and all that. But you might as well. No, because I think that would just work. I think I like the idea of them being a couple. Certainly better than frickin' Ishizu and Kaiba. That's a pairing that just doesn't work for me. Hey. Then again, I've never read a story that worked, a fan fiction where that pairing never works. So shrug. So then Duke decides he's going to go off and head back to America and try to enhance DDM. Spoilers: we're never going to hear from him again, or from Shizuka after the next episode. So yay. Bye, Duke. You were a complete fucking waste. And I do mean that sincerely. I've never liked Otugi slash Duke. I've never liked him. I've always felt like he was a giant waste of a fucking character. So, shrug. I know he was there in the manga too, and I don't understand why he was there in the manga because his only contribution was to save Honda and Shizuka from the ghouls. And he didn't fuck off after that because why? Oh, right, because he's a horny fucktard who wants to bang in Joey's sister. I've already been over that. Moving on. Speaking of horny, Tristan's reflection is next. And he reflects on, what he's going to do next and all this other stuff, and he's trying to sound out cool. Just like Duke did. He slips Serenity his phone number. I do think that it's a joke when both Joey and Jinochi are like, hey, Tristan! And just kind of, angrily go, because they immediately shift to laughing at it, because it's like, you know what, that's still a better go than Duke, my opinion. Because, I mean, if for no other reason, Honda has had Jinochi's back since forever. Ever. Like, you just know Honda would treat Shizuka like a fucking queen. Unlike the writers on the next character to say their farewells, my. Okay. We are at. I actually don't know off the top of my head. I'm actually going to look it up. I'm actually going to give you guys an actual, no, really week count of how long we are from my big rant on that. If you'll give me a moment. This will not take me long because I actually just have to load up this, then go back, then go here to season 4 because again I structure it based on that. So let's see. So we've got the clip show next week. We've got a Pyramid of Light the week after that. Then we've got New Evil. Which has 2 names apparently. I'm probably just going to go with the New Evil because that's the more consistent title. Legend of the Dragons, The Creator Returns, Deja Duel, and an Unexpected Enemy. So, from your perspective, in 7 weeks from now, we're gonna have my big bitching fest. In either 7 or 8 weeks, we will be, so in either just under or around in around 2 months' time. From your perspective, I will be bitching about the way the Doma arc treats Mai, and why it was a colossal fucking mistake from a character, from both a narrative and a character perspective. My opinion. And this is coming from somebody who, again, has been for the past 3 years been off and on watching this show again. And no, my opinion is cemented. And season 4 really, really, really dropped the fucking ball with her character by making her a part of that cult at all. Oh, they fucked her character. My opinion. Now we'll see if it's actual bad writing. I'm pretty sure it's bad writing, but we'll see if it's actually bad writing or if it's just I don't like this and think it's the wrong direction. Either way, I fucking hate it with a burning passion. Even if it is good, right? Like it could be some. It could be we could have a fucking lore runner waltz situation for all I fucking know, and I'd still say that it was a fucking colossal ass mistake. But that's beside the point. Never mind the dude. Never mind the dude that wants to stick his dick in her during season 4 that has the Australian accent in the dub. We'll get to him. And we'll get there. We'll get there. So yeah, that's why my farewell annoys the piss out of me. Thanks, Domark. So Joey can't spit it out. In the dub, he actually tries to say something, to say somethings, anything. In Jinochi, stays silent, and that pissed me off. I was like, "Are you kidding me, Jinochi? Come on, say something, dude." But no, Anzu's got to fucking elbow him and be like, "Stop fucking up. Get going, get going." And I do like that. That's actually that no joke is my favorite thing Anzu has done all show. I know what I said. And I mean it. That right there, that small little moment. Best Anzu moment. Just my opinion. Also, fuck the your friendship is too bright line in the sub. Fuck that line. They say their goodbyes. I do like that Maya admits that Joey is already a true duelist and thinks that, he has outshined her already. Sure, Mai. Sure. But whatever. And then we get to the thing. I actually skipped over a note in my sub notes, but that's okay because it works better here. The promise duel between Yugi and Joey. I like this idea. I'm not actually. You might think I'm pissed off at the fact that we don't actually see the duel on camera. I'm actually okay with it for one simple reason. That's not the point. That was never the point. Right? That was never the point. The point is always been that eventually they would face each other as true duelists. That was the point. I still say giving up Red Eyes was dumb, but there is a way you could have circumvented that. Have a duel before that. Have a duel where Joey loses and has to give up Red Eyes to Yugi. Maybe make some big speech of keep climbing the rungs, keep pushing towards becoming a true duelist, and then face me again And, and on that day I will face you again as a true duelist, and it'll be awesome, blah, 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 you know? I still say taking Joey's red eyes away from him was a colossal fucking mistake. As I honestly feel like because again, I know, I know that, Red Eyes wasn't going to really get very many support cards until, of all things, like, fuck, what was that? The Arc 5 era? But at the same time, you could have started that road, You could have inspired it. And then people could have, started really getting into Red Eyes. But no, both DM and GX basically give Red Eyes the shaft. In the worst way possible. By making him so ineffectual. By making him so ineffectual that it's pathetic. So, no. Kinda hate it. But that's it. That is One for the Road, aka Alcatraz in Flames. It's an okay episode. It's a C rank episode. But I am not sad to see Alcatraz Island go because I am the asshole who fucking hates this arc. I'll go ahead and give an abridged version of my final thoughts on the Alcatraz arc here, and then I'll go ahead and because next week's just gonna be me talking about Battle City, because next week is a fucking clip show. I'll give them this much: at least they waited. They did what was that? 80 episodes technically? No. That was 70 episodes. They waited 70 episodes in order to, in order for, before they did another clip show. So I'll give you that. I'll give you that, DM. You waited until the end of the full end of Battle City to do a clip show. Credit where it's due. But the same problem arises from what happened last time, which is it's a clip show. What the hell am I going to say about a fucking clip show? And the answer is probably not much, but we'll find out the answer next time with looking back while moving forward or something. I know the sub episode title is Signs because that was said in the preview, but because I was jotting down a few final things, but whatever. But yeah, no, Battle City ends next week. Battle City ends for real next week. Well, actually, it is technically over. We're just going to discuss it next week. We're going to wrap up all our discussion on Battle City, and everybody can hate me for not calling it peak Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I don't think it's peak Yu-Gi-Oh! I never have. And this run-through has really cemented that opinion. Because I feel like they could have done more with the adaptation, but instead they just kind of stretched it out so that it could be carried over 60 episodes, but 60, 70 episodes, but that's just my opinion. Regardless of all that, that's it from me. Until next time, this is Blue Wolf Alex of the Lore Walkers signing out. Have a good one. See you for the wrap up of Duelist Kingdom, or not Duelist Kingdom, sorry, of Battles. The wrap up of Battle City. That's how much I don't like Battle City. I'll see you for the wrap up of Battle City next time. Duel standby.